What's your creepiest glitch in the Matrix or unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you? Taking the trash out at night. Super remote area, so I know for a fact we're the only ones around here. Getting close to the road and I hear very clearly "help me" from a female voice. Even knowing there's such a slim chance of there being another living person around, I still feel like I should look around and check it out in case I wasn't just hearing things and someone actually needs help. Take about 2 steps in the direction I thought I heard it, hear a giggle in the same exact voice, turn around and walk promptly back up the driveway, because that's it. Anyone who actually needed help wouldn't be laughing, I don't think. Edit. This comment is potentially disturbing. For a better time, skip it and head over to r/aww/. When I was a child, my sister and I were walking home from the park and a man called help. We found an open manhole and could hear the man calling for help, but we could not see him. I was 9 and panicking thought we should crawl in to help. My sister, 11, had the good instinct to get our parents. When we came back with them, the man was gone. As an adult, I can see the whole thing was a ploy, the manhole right next to the park. It makes complete sense, but is still so creepy. You almost got ducking Pennywise. Similar experience, walking home in a residential neighborhood at night. I was 14 at the time and this car is driving behind me very slowly, too slowly. It pulls over about 5 feet ahead of me and stops. Alarm bells were already ringing at that time, and I book it home. Just pure adrenaline. I burst through the front door, hyperventilating, managed to get out. What happened to my dad, who takes off sprinting down the street. Sure enough, dad finds the car and is like, "What's going on, man?" The guy laughs and says his car died. He must have really scared me for me to run like that. Hardy ha. Good laugh at my expense. Dad says, "I'll be right back, I'll jump you." Dad goes back literally under 2 minutes. This was maybe 1.5 football fields away from my house, but not a straight shot, and guy isn't there. Well, guess who's laughing now? No one, because it was terrifying. Edit. Grandma. My bad. Oh, God, now I'm wishing I wasn't home alone. You're not. I was working on my motorcycle in a dirt lot, where I had crashed it trying to do a sick drift, breaking off the clutch lever and the gear shifter. I had brought a wrench set with me, and I was using one of them to take off a bolt when I put it down on the ground to finish unscrewing the bolt with my hand. 2 minutes later I went to pick it back up, and it was gone. I ran all around this dirt lot looking for it to no avail. Luckily I had a spare in the car. Fixed the bike and drove back to my apartment to shower as I was filthy. I walked in my room, and sitting on my desk was the wrench. I was dumbfounded. 10mm. That happens all the time. I once clocked out of work at 6 p.m, like I always did at the time, and began my hour-long train ride home. After I had found a seat, I went to sleep and woke up just before my station. From the station, it is a short bus journey, 10 to 15 minutes, to reach home. During the entire journey, I didn't use my phone and I don't wear a watch, so I didn't really notice the time anywhere. When I reached home, my family surprised me with, "You're home early, everything alright?" I look at the wall clock, and it is about to be 6 p.m. I was too shocked to understand what happened. Checked other watches, cell phones etc, and the time is absolutely right. A few days later, the admin emailed us the timesheets for the month, times clocking in and out, and every single days for me was around the same 6 p.m. So it certainly wasn't me having left work earlier. To this date, I haven't figured out how I gained between 60 to 90 minutes that day. I've told this story before, and could go into a ton of detail, but here's the short version. I'm 100% sure I vividly remember a dog that apparently doesn't exist. When I was 16 we lived on the other side of the province and my uncle had this little Jack Russell named Crew. Crew went missing for several months and then turned up at a humane society over an hour away, and we were all shocked this little dog has made it so far. Anyway, that was almost 20 years ago, and the other day I was talking to my parents and was like, whenever I hear about Jack Russells I think about Crew and that stunt he pulled, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Insisted my uncle had never had such a dog, I must have dreamed it, etc. Honestly, anyone else who would have remembered this dog has been dead for a long time and I don't even have any pictures of my uncle. I have absolutely no way to prove this dog existed, but I'm sure that he did. I remember a trip my family took that never happened. I wrote about it in elementary school and my mom was so confused and told me I must have dreamt it. I'm 29 and still vividly remember walking through the field to this cool little house with my family. So confusing. 1985. My ex-wife and I were sleeping. There was a small sliver of light coming in through the window from a street light, so the room and bed were dimly visible. Our black Pomeranian was at the end of the bed asleep. I dreamt that I woke up, reached down to pet him, and he turned into a glossy black bivalve/oyster thing which opened up to reveal rows of gleaming glass teeth. I woke up to my ex backpedaling up the bed over the pillows towards the wall. I asked what's wrong. She said, "What is that shiny black lamb thing with the teeth at the end of the bed? Where's the dog?" We had had the same nightmare at the same time. This still gives me a chill. I was driving about 50 miles per hour and a car ran a stop sign on an on-ramp and pulled out right in front of me. I remember bracing for impact and then I was about 300 yards down the highway and I saw the car at the ramp in my rear view, just about to pull out. As someone who just watched all the Final Destination movies, I can confidently say that you're going to die. I was driving during a snowstorm when a police car started driving next to me, lights on, no sirens. I looked at the officers, but they didn't look at me. They had a weird look on their face. Something was off. They accelerated just a little to pass me and then completely disappeared. I drove maybe 15 minutes on the road without seeing them anywhere. They couldn't have gone really far. The road's conditions were terrible. I was walking my dog and I was almost to the driveway when I looked down for some reason and I looked back up and I ended up being back at the road about 6 blocks away from where I thought I was. I was so confused, but my dog looked completely fine. For your information, I don't drink or do drugs. I'm still pretty young. I'm 99% convinced this happened to me as a teenager and no one believes me. A friend and I both worked Wednesday mornings at the same time, different places, so I would pick her up and drop her off, then go to my work. One day I got to her house, and I remember thinking that I need to call her to let her know I'm here, but all of a sudden the phone call is there minutes in, and she's just saying my name over and over asking why I'm just sitting there. I remember feeling weak, and my arm holding my phone, left-handed, was so hard to pick up to my ear. Apparently I called her, then just blanked out. She saw from the window, answered me call, and kept asking if I was okay, because I just sat there in my car like a deer in headlights. To this day I have no idea what possessed me to just lapse 5 minutes in time, but it's never happened again in my life. I had just pulled into the parking lot of where I worked, and was walking towards the building. It was like 3 in the afternoon, broad daylight. All of a sudden, I heard an ambulance's siren start sounding. Naturally, I looked down the road to try and see the ambulance. I see it approaching and decided to watch it for a bit. It was quickly getting closer and it was about to pass right by me. However, there was a large SUV waiting to turn out of the parking lot and onto the road, blocking a few meters of the road from my view. The ambulance passed behind the SUV, probably about 50 feet away from me at most, and I vividly remember the siren becoming completely silent in that instant. The ambulance had vanished entirely as it passed behind that SUV. I was so confused. The road did not have many cars on it at the time, and it was broad daylight. I did a triple take and made sure that I didn't just miss it. I had a clear view of the road going both directions, and there was no more ambulance to be seen. No more siren either. I walked up and down the road, trying to find it for a solid minute. But nope, it was gone. I was well rested, not on drugs, and I didn't have a history of hallucinations. It seems dismissible, but I was completely aware of what happened, and I can't explain it to this day. My wife passed away a year ago today. Had some odd things happen, like a couple of old meaningful pictures show up that I swore were in storage. The strangest one was I vacuumed the carpet, and as soon as I was done a diamond ring was on the ground right where I had just cleaned. It was like she was saying, hey, this one is real, don't lose it. I remember driving my car to this intersection in this rural area, and I'm checking both sides because of terrible blind spots. In the corner of my eye my mother is sitting there and says something like it's all clear my way. I look back, and she isn't there. My mother had been dead for a few years at this point. This was also in the middle of the day and I've never had it happen since. Edit. Wow, my first award. Thanks. Thanks for watching AskReddit. Click the subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our newest videos. Let us know your thoughts and opinions on this matter in the comments below. Also find the original post link down below in the video description.